Hello and welcome to Retirement Wealth Academy. I'm your host, Erin Kennedy. Thanks for being with us. This show is dedicated to helping retirees and pre-retirees sort through some of retirement's most complicated questions and topics. And for that, we turn to local experts. Today's guest is Abby Reed. Abby, thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Great to be here, Erin.
Abby, you are with Reed Financial, and I know that you are known for helping people solve complex financial problems. Is there any topic more complex than Social Security? I want to start there because I'm calling it almost the Social Security mistake. I was surprised to learn that only 4% of people are claiming Social Security at the most financially optimal time. The rest of people are missing out on what comes out to $111,000 per household. That's incredible.
It is, and there's so many different options, and there's not a lot of resources out there to help people, especially couples, when you're figuring out two people's different benefit. There's not a lot of resources out there to really point people in the right direction on what their optimal strategy is. And that's what we like to help people with, because Social Security is one of our biggest assets in retirement, especially if we do it correctly. And so that's a really big piece to the puzzle in retirement.
Right. So of the people who rely on Social Security, it makes up 50% of their benefits. So you're right, we can't overlook that. Right. Do you find, though, that a lot of people say, well, my neighbor claimed at 62, so she must have crunched the numbers, I'm going to do that?
Yes, and that's understandable because you just want to follow, maybe what your friends or your family are doing, unless you have better, more specific advice. So that's understandable, but it might not be the optimal benefit strategy for you or maybe even your neighbor. And so it's important to really run those numbers and also to look at it in a holistic way to figure out, how does this fit into my overall strategy and how can it all work together to be the best plan for me?
I see. I'm sorry I'm throwing so many numbers at you, but it's incredible. 1/3 of people claim at 62 when you are eligible to get that money. I think a lot of us worry that the benefit won't stick around. What do you say to address those concerns?
Yeah, so we call that panic claiming.
I get it.
We work so hard for it.
Yeah.
And people that are that age have been contributing to it for so long. And so it's understandable to want to go ahead and get it, especially because we know that that program has some issues. A lot of people are afraid that it's not going to be around. And so if they go ahead and claim, then at least they'll have it. But what we found is that when we can educate people about, even if there are some cuts in the future, or maybe Social Security is taxed at a higher rate, if you can maximize your strategy, if you can maximize your benefit, even if there are cuts down the road, you're still going to be getting more from it. So it's worth taking a look at it and looking at the overall difference between claiming at the earliest age, 62, and maybe waiting until your optimal age, whether that's full retirement age or even 70. If you can wait that long. If we can build a strategy that can allow you to allow those benefits to grow, it's going to make a huge difference over time.
Can we tick through some of those variables that somebody should consider, though? I'm sure longevity would be one, right? We don't know when we're going to leave, though. What are some of the other variables?
So especially with a couple, what we typically see, not always, but what we typically see is that there's going to be one benefit that's higher and one that's a little bit lower. So a strategy that we can at least consider is delaying the larger benefit so that you get those delayed retirement credits and the cost of living adjustment, and going ahead and claiming the smaller strategy or the lower benefit, so that you kind of have the best of both worlds. Because that bigger benefit, that's the one that's going to make a huge difference for survivorship. With a couple, odds are probably at least one of them is going to make it into their 90s, which it surprises a lot of people. So we have to plan for that, and there are strategies to plan for longevity and increase that lifetime benefit from Social Security for both you and your spouse.
Wow. Talking this through, you see how many permutations there are. You can see why a lot of people don't claim at the right time. So this was incredibly helpful. Abby, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Erin.